Happy Friday! It is Food Label Friday again. I am here in my kitchen and we are going to be looking at another plant-based protein, of course, with the help of my reading glasses, of course. So let's get those out. Gosh, I'm an old lady now. This is what 40 does to you. Well, 40 and some change. We're not going to count. Who's counting? All right. Woo, I still can't see that even with these. I think these are broken. Anyway, today we are going to be looking at Abbott's Whole Burger, which is a fairly new product. I was excited to see it. I love the brand Abbott's and some of the other proteins they have. Let's take a look at how Abbott stacks up as a source of protein. So I am here on Abbott's website. Let's take a look at the plant-rich whole burger. Okay, so let's do the marketing first. I love to do the marketing. Every hearty, tender bite is a celebration of flavor and powerful plant ingredients like umami mushrooms, aromatic parsley, and subtly smoky paprika. Oh my gosh, it sounds like a personals ad. Like Abbott's like, okay, you trying to get somebody to date you? It's just a burger. Calm down. Plus, it's packed with superfoods like organic oats, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Now, I guess anything can be a superfood these days. Oats are a superfood, really? Okay, is water like a super drink? Anyway. Um, Perfect for weeknight dinners and backyard barbecues alike. All right, well, they've got me sold. Let's look at the label a little bit closer. So again, on the front it says that it's a whole burger. So I think they're trying to indicate it's more whole foods based, which is great. It has 22 grams of clean plant protein. It says antioxidant rich herbs and spices and superfoods. Again, more superfoods. Okay. Now, flax seeds, chia seeds are also, and oats are apparently pretty super. Now, they are great, right? They're nutritious whole foods, but super, I'm expecting a superhero or something to bust out of this burger, y'all. Anyway, let's take a look at the actual label so we can really see what's going on here instead of all the beautiful pictures. I love the pictures. It looks mouth-watering, doesn't it? It says it's made with avocado oil and it's also soy-free and gluten-free. All right. Okay, first let's start with the ingredients. So let's look here. It says filtered water, pea protein, mushrooms, onions, tomato paste, chickpea flour, organic oats, nutritional yeast, sunflower seeds, flaxseed, cassava flour, vinegar, chia seeds, oat flour, avocado oil, and then all the spices: cumin, sea salt, spinach. That's interesting. Garlic, smoked paprika, black pepper, parsley, beet powder, and cayenne pepper. Okay. So these are all ingredients that we recognize, which is really good. So again, it looks like this whole burger does have whole foods in it because we don't see anything in here like dexafexylphosphatal chlorazine chloride or some type of chemical, right? These are all whole foods. So that checks out. So I love the fact that also, if you've watched Food Label Fridays before, you know that generally the ingredients are listed in the order in terms of their quantity. So the whatever's listed first, that's going to be the highest quantity. So it says filtered water. I imagine that's because they hydrated some of the pea protein and mushrooms and chickpea flour and all of that. So that's why it says filtered water first and then the pea protein. So pea protein is really the number one ingredient in this, which, again, makes sense for something that we're looking for to be high protein or a source of protein. So this is checking out so far. I'm excited about it. All right. So let's look at the nutritional info. All right, now let's get down to the real. Let's see. The marketing. We're not even going to read the rest of this. The whole burger is exactly what a burger should be. I don't know. Maybe I agree. Let's look at the actual nutrition facts. So I'm over here. Okay, so there's 2 servings per container, and a serving is 1 patty, which is great. I love it when servings make sense. And it's not like, oh, it's 200 calories, but a serving is like 1/8 of a patty. It's like, who eats 1/8 of a burger? So I love that their serving size is actually how you would consume it. So there's always something to watch out for. But here, 1 patty, 1 serving, 2 servings per container. So there's 2 patties in a container. Now, the only thing about that is it might get a little bit expensive if there's only 2 in there, right? But, hey, if you live alone or if it's just you and a partner or something like that, then maybe this is a good option. You don't have to like stock up and buy a whole bunch to feed like a family of 4. So something to keep in mind in terms of cost. Now, from these 200 calories, we see that 7 grams is fat. There's 1 gram of saturated fat, no trans fat, which is good. 460 milligrams of sodium. That's not horrible. especially if you are eating other meals as well throughout the day and you're not really going over that. I would say you could easily have 3 meals that have 460 milligrams of sodium and not, go over like what the recommended sodium amount is if you have any issues where you would have to keep your sodium low. So I know some people are very orthodox and they're no salt at all. But in fact, we do need sodium. Sodium is an electrolyte. So we do need that, right? So for the water balance in our body. So I wouldn't, shy away from it just because it does contain sodium. However, it is something to keep in mind. You probably don't want to have like, eat 2 or 3 of these or something like that in one sitting. Not that you would, because that's excessive. Anywho, 15 grams of carbohydrates, 4 grams of which are fiber, 1 gram coming from sugar. So that makes sense because some of the whole foods, these are not added sugar. So you see it says 0 grams of added sugar. So it's not like they sprinkled, some white sugar on it or anything like that. But some of the ingredients that are, there's like oat flour in it. There's some beet powder. There are some ingredients that do have naturally occurring sugar. So that 1 gram of sugar is perfectly fine. And then for protein, it's 22 grams. Now, that's what I want to see, y'all. 22 grams of protein, 15 grams of carbs, and 7 grams of fat. And that fat, I think, is primarily coming from the avocado oil. It is an oil, and I know some people, again, are like, no oil, no sodium. But the fact of the matter is, we do need some healthy fats in our diet. This is still a burger, okay? So it's not a salad. And the avocado oil, I would argue, is probably going to give this some flavor. Avocado is also a really good source of healthy fats if you eat a whole avocado. In this case, probably just because it's a burger, they're making more sense out of it and using the avocado oil for the flavor because, as you know, avocado goes bad really quick. If there was avocado in here, the whole burger, as soon as you open the package, it would probably disintegrate and not be edible anymore. Oh man, I love avocados, but it's tricky finding out when they're ripe and when they're not. Anyway, all right, so let's go back here. So we did see the avocado oil. That's where that fat's coming from. But if we look overall, like I said, if someone tells me on the front of the package that this thing is high in protein or a source of protein, or even if it has 22 grams of protein, unless it also has a lower amount of carbohydrates and fat, then I really won't consider it a protein source. Abbott's, in this case, I feel like they nailed it. It's a whole food based burger. We recognize all the ingredients. It's 200 calories for 22 grams of protein, which I think is pretty decent. It's got 7 grams of fat. So we're getting a little bit of healthy fat in there, but it's not anything outlandish. I have seen burgers like this that have 20 grams of fat. So the fact that they have this 7 grams of fat coming from avocado oil makes it pretty lean for a burger. And then it has 15 grams of carbohydrates, which is perfectly fine because we see that they're all coming from whole foods. And it's even still got 4 grams of fiber. And it's good that it has some fiber, but it's not an overwhelming amount of fiber. So you probably won't get a lot of upset or really notice a huge change in your movements. Okay. You know what I mean? Like sometimes if we overdo it with fiber, especially if we're not used to having fiber in our diet, and then we eat a more whole food plant based diet, what tends to happen is our gut microbiome is overloaded really quickly. And if you're not used to having that much fiber, you can start to feel bloated and gassy, which I know sounds kind of counterintuitive, but the standard American diet, the sad diet, the standard American diet quite honestly does not have a lot of fiber. So it's good that this, again, it has 4 grams of fiber, but protein is still your main macronutrient here. The fiber is good to have, but it's not an overwhelming amount of fiber. It's not an overwhelming amount of fat, and the protein is coming from pea protein. Now, my only sort of thing that I would love to see is if I knew that this was organic pea protein, USDA organic, that would make me love it even more. I see that it just says clean plant protein. I'm sorry, there is no nutrition or food safety certification that something is clean. I mean, I would hope that you're not going to serve me dirty plant protein. So some of that's marketing. So clean doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I would love it if this pea protein was organic, but I know that that would probably also drive up the cost. They're really just trying to let us know that they have put some thought into having high quality ingredients, which I do appreciate, but I would just love to see that USDA organic stamp. I know, again, the burger would probably be, one patty for like $8 if they did that, but that I think is a small thing. I definitely think this is a great option. So if you're looking for a source of protein, if you want to stay more towards whole foods, but you don't want to get that bloated, crazy feeling, you don't want to overload yourself on carbs, and there's nothing wrong with carbs, but sometimes, especially when we're following a vegan or plant-based diet, we can find that our diet tends to be very high in carbohydrates, which really just means that it's higher in calories, right? So it's really not, there's nothing like wrong with eating carbohydrates. So like the whole low carb keto thing, really for the vast majority of people would do well, especially women 40 and over, on what is more a moderate carbohydrate diet. That's what the latest research is showing. So it is lower than you would have on a typical whole food plant-based diet, or even just a typical vegan diet that doesn't have a lot of thought put into food selection. But that being said, this is a really great balance between protein, carbohydrates, fats, whole foods. I definitely would say that if you're looking for a protein source, Abbott's, this whole burger, they've nailed it. Now, taste is the only other thing. It's not going to taste like an Impossible Burger or a Beyond Burger or a beef burger. And, many people don't even want that flavor. They don't want that taste. They want a burger to just be good. So it's really subjective. So I would say the one thing I did notice about the Abbott's burger when I tried it, because it is lower than fat than like a Beyond Burger, the taste is different, right? It's not going to give you that same, greasy, fast food burger feel. So if that's what you're looking for, which again, I hope it's not, but if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find that here. This is a very clean product. So for me, this gets a thumbs up. A very clean source of plant protein. Not dirty, y'all. Anyway, this is a good product. I encourage you to try it out. Great source of protein if you're following a plant-based diet, or even if you just want to incorporate some more healthier proteins into your diet, then I would give this one a shot.